Alrighty guys, so fixing to get ready to drop the crank in. I've honed out the cylinders. Let me see if I can find my light here. There's the light. Put a little cleaning on the cylinders. You can kind of see it. Sorry about it from down here, but just kind of honed them out, just to rough about the edges. So like I said, the cylinders are fine. We're using stock pistons. Just putting fresh rings in, so the fresh rings need to break into something. So then that got done, and then I grabbed the little hone here, the stone. Let me set my light up here. So this is just a sharpening stone. I got mine from Harbor Freight. I'm sure there's better ones. It's nice and thick though, so it's straight. Well, it doesn't warp, like you don't press on it and it bends. And that's important because you just hit all these surfaces. And you can see the machine marks from where they built the block, but this is me knocking down some of the high spots and low spots. I'm knocking down some of the high spots and getting them closer, and then it's cleaned, so it's just a lot smoother. It'll have a better ability to seal. Very smooth. You can see the small. So I hit it with the rough side. I don't even know what that is, rough wise, and then the soft side. Did the same thing to the surface of the surface under here. No, that's not going to work. The surface under here. You can see it's not perfect like a machining surface, but we're reusing the block. I didn't send it out for machine shop work, so you can see that it's just nice and clean. So you want to keep it as straight and smooth as you can. So I went ahead and cleaned all my surfaces, blew out all my holes. You can see how clean that hole is there. And it's just nice to have them all clean inside. Your threads are good. Gives your locking compound, because we're using studs, it gives your locking compound a good surface to adhere to. I put the old bearings back in because, like I said, we're using the original crank, the original bearings. And boss lady walking by. And then here's the crank outside of the bag. You can see it was almost perfect. They just did a little bit of drilling there, and a couple of these holes have a little bit deeper, but not much. Just cleaned them up, it looks like, mostly. And then they polished the journals. You can tell they're right on the money. So yeah, looks good. So we're gonna go ahead and set that guy in and just see what it looks like. But first I'm gonna put some of this assembly lube on it. Now it rotated real easily earlier. You know, when I took it apart, before I took it apart, it rotated really easily. And but this stuff is like, I call it raspberry jam, because you'll see it's just oh, I might have to get another bottle. It's that thick, but you see it just goes on there. It's ridiculous. That's Molly Percocet, the cat.
Good golly, this Molly.
Molly Percocet. Anyway, get some of that gooey stuff on there, and then we'll set the crank in, and then I'll put my screws on. I wanted to put my screws on first, but I got a little carried away. As you can see, this stuff is just like a jelly. It's ridiculous. Anyway, oh, I forgot to say, I'm not gonna check the tolerances because they were perfect before I started. And all they did is polish this guy, and I'm using the same bearings, so it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I could be anal about it, but it was working perfectly fine, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with the crank other than slightly out of balance. I mean, like slightly. So anyway, I'll get this stuff back in, get my studs in, and then I'll pick her back up and show you the crank spinning. I want to show you. So I use this is an acid brush. I don't know why they call them that, but you can get them at a paint store for, I don't know, 25 for $5 or something like that. They're like 10-20 cents a piece, whatever. And I just use it to squeeze out onto the brush, and then I paint the surface of the nut, and I paint one surface of the washers. Then I put that surface down, so you can see that the surface there is clean on the top, because that surface we'll go on that section. That way we don't make too much of a mess. I use the box from the other one. So then the next thing I'll do is I'll put these washers on. I started to, and then I'm like, oh, I should probably video that. So put these washers on. Then I will lubricate the threads just a little bit, and then we'll have all the contact surfaces will be lubed, so we'll get good proper torquing. Which I haven't looked up the torque specs, but we'll see about that when I get to it. So anyway, here we go. Put those guys on, and we'll move to the next step. Like I said, clean surface up, lubed surface down. Not a big glove wearer. I like to be able to feel what I'm doing. Now we'll take our little brush, squeeze some of this into the bristles, get us a little bit of on there. They give you plenty in the container, but multiple kits, so I'll probably have some left over. I have some left over from other projects also, but you put it on there as much as thick as you want. The brush really helps get it in the threads. And then do the other side. Just make sure you got a good deal there. Nice coverage, I guess. You want good accurate torque specs. Not going to hurt to have some in the crankcase either. It mixes with, it's designed to mix with the oil, your braking oil, which all will probably run, whether, even though this motor's already broken in, but it's got some new parts, so we'll run braking oil just to make sure she runs nice. And then we will change it out like you're supposed to. All right, there's that. I'm just gonna spin these guys on. Ooh, there's a bristle. And don't forget to clean all of your, before you put your studs in the holes. I mean, they're new, so they should be clean, but they come with packing oil on it, so, or grease, whatever it is, and it'll keep your Loctite, when you Loctite your studs in, it'll keep them from Loctite from sticking to the stud itself. So you do have to clean the studs. I didn't show that, but I hit them with a brake cleaner. Dropped that one, didn't I? I hit them with brake cleaner before I I might need to get a magnet. Good thing we didn't use stainless steel. All right. So we put those guys on. We'll just tighten those down a little bit, and then I'll look up the torque spec and we'll get it torqued. All right, so torque on this guy, according to ARP, is 60 foot-pounds, and it says to do it in 3 steps. So I'm going to do, my torque wrench only goes down to, my half-inch one only goes down to 30, so I'm going to do 30, 45, and 60. Well, something else the IRP made sure is if you use Loctite on the studs, you have to torque these before the Loctite sets up. It's the way they design their stuff. I don't know. I don't know, I could check it, but it should be as good as the factory setting because that's what we had in there. It's the same crank, so it should be good. Thanks. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this week's installment of the B5 A4 Audi build. Tune in next week for the next installment. Hope you enjoy this series and have a great time working on your cars.